Ulalele Ifly FM, taking you places.
Ali, ngiqhakazandlala enhlizweni yami. That's what's happening right here at Fly FM. Definitely. Thank you very much, guys, and for tuning in right over here at Fly FM. So now what we all have been waiting for the whole time to actually dive deep into this conversation that we have over here with the lovely lady over here who's going to be on the line with us. So I've got a powerhouse guest on the line today. She's a registered mental health therapist, a director of Huma Wellness, keynote speaker, and founder of Empowered Connection. Please help me welcome S'khulile Ngobese. Hi, S'khulile.
Hello, Thando. How are you?
How are you doing, darling? How are you?
I'm awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. What a privilege to be here.
Thank you. It's actually a privilege also on our side. Thank you very much for joining us. So let's just start where it actually hits home. For the girls that are listening who've been through it, has never said a word. So actually, this is for you, darling. This is for you. So from a therapist's perspective, actually, what does sexual assault actually looks like beyond the obvious? Because it's not just physical. Am I correct?
That is correct.
Yes. So,
Um, so basically, it starts from an angle of, nuanced words. A person could imply something without actually saying it, and it leads to, a certain idea, or it lands in a certain way to the person that it's being done to. So it starts from, certain looks, certain touches, that a person, could end up feeling less than comfortable with it being done to them, and it escalates
yeah,
because, the perpetrators don't necessarily always make it obvious that that's where they're
they
going.
don't.
And some of them, will even go as far as playing mind games as well with their victims in order to sort of prep them that that's where, the conversation is heading, or that's where the actions are heading. Obviously, it would be different from, certain other incidents where there's no lead up because, you know, 60-70% of the time, the perpetrator and the victim usually know each other. It's either family or, a colleague, or whatever the case may be, at church, and whatever the case may be. So the perpetrators usually have a way of just warming up the victim and sort of prepping them to innately expect, or not so much, what is yet to follow.
Okay, okay, I hear you. So now, actually, right over here in Mzanti, so many victims actually stay silent. So why do you think that is? Is it fear? Is it shame? Or is it mostly just the system?
Um, if I'm hearing you correctly, you are asking why is it that people don't come forward?
Yes, yes, yes.
It's quite a lot of reasons, to be quite honest. It's a fear of judgment, first things first, trauma as well. Post-traumatic stress also has a way of just having a person, silently process through a particular incident, before they actually make sense of what exactly is that happened. So whilst a person is in shock, sometimes they
Yes.
will not even, know exactly what happened to be able to put it into words. There's also just not having a safe space, or people that
Safe
one can trust
space.
to be able to relay such information. It's also shame. It's also just, the community that we live in. They're not so welcoming or so understanding of such incidents, because, hence
Yes.
the existing of stigmas and whatnot, where, a woman will come forth. We are seeing this in the case of, this man who's recently been exonerated,
Yes.
Omotoso, where Cheryl and the others were dismissed, and apparently there was lack of evidence.
Wow.
So there's also distrust in the justice system
There
as
is.
well, that, should I come forth in this, it will unravel my whole entire life. But will the perpetrator actually, be served justice, or not, and we see it quite a lot where on the accounts of evidence it ends up, just being a case that doesn't lead to the victim getting justice
Yes, yes, yes.
as well. Yeah.
Definitely. And to the listeners who've actually never reported it and maybe feels broken, because I do believe that people do feel broken wherever they are. We all don't want a justice system that actually is like this. But what would you say to them right now?
To the victims that have not yet reported.
Yes. Who are actually scared of this justice system and the mistrust and the shame also hovering them, in all of that. What can you say to them?
If I'm being quite honest and understanding of where a victim's mind would be at, regardless of how old the case is, yes, it would haunt the person for a very long time, and it will have quite a number of implications. But I would I can't particularly be in a place to tell a person, no, you have to go and report. In as much as, getting the statistics out there, reporting the cases as much as we can, in as much as that would actually assist, the narrative as a whole. However, there are quite a lot of other nuances or implications that come with reporting the case at the very same time. For example, the other day I had a person reach out to me because she needed assistance
Yeah.
because of the mental and emotional implications of the issue.
Yes.
However, she said that she had to go ayocisha she had to go and dismiss her own case
Oh my
because
God.
she was being threatened and from the perpetrator being in jail. She was receiving phone calls where she felt that her life was in danger and her
Wait,
family
this is
members'
all
lives
happening while the perpetrator is actually still in jail?
whilst he is in jail. He found a way to make phone calls to the victim to threaten her and tell her that she has to dismiss the case, nani or else, something will happen to her or any one of her family members. So it's quite a very sensitive and deeply nuanced phenomenon, if I'm being honest. However, I would encourage, that people do rely on the justice system because I'd say as much as not everybody gets their justice served, but a whole lot more people do get their justice served. So it is, it obviously encouraged. I know quite a lot of African families,
Yes,
um,
yes.
traditional families will usually, when this would occur within a family setting, you'll find that, a person will be encouraged to go to, no, let's sort it out as a family. Let's have a family meeting or agiwenduneni, for areas who still have amakhosi and izinduna, and a person is told ukuthi no, a goat will be enough to cleanse whatever it is that
A
happened
goat is
to you.
enough.
But at the end of the day, that's not really justice, because
It's
how much
not.
does a goat, actually cost, Thando? Like, it's like about maybe 2,500 rands,
Oh
if
my
I'm not
God.
mistaken, or around about there. And that's not really enough to
It's
count as
not.
justice. Yeah, one. So the more people, put their truth out there, the more people advocate, the more we're able to change the narrative, the more we're able to, even go to whichever departments that, would assist to say, Uti, these are the stats that we're looking at. Yeah, one. The same thing happened with the gender-based violence, where a lot of noise was being made around the issue, and it's been, a lot of things, a lot of policies have then been amended to be more victim friendly. So I
Okay,
do feel
okay.
that more reports, more people coming forward will assist with the narrative at the end of the day.
Okay, okay. No, that's very good then to know. So now, upon to actually the people who are now trying to go through the actual healing process, especially when they can't afford therapy, you do know where they can start? How can they actually begin the healing process, especially in this time where maybe they only requested to only like get the goat in order to get their whole justice done? So, is what can be done? How can they heal in that moment?
I'm not quite entirely sure that I picked up on your last question.
So the question
Our line is a
is,
bit finicky.
oh,
Yes.
I'm really sorry, darling, on your side. So, how can someone begin the healing process, especially when they can't afford therapy or don't know where to start?
There's actually quite a lot of organizations that I can say are there for victims or even possible perpetrators as well, because we do believe that before someone does something, it first occurs as an idea or as a single thought in their minds.
Yeah.
So, resources, obviously, first and foremost, we do have the South African Police Services, where, as much as reporting can be daunting, but they do certainly try their best um, by way of having specialized units to handle such cases. And they even go as far as bringing in a social worker for a person to, be able to speak to and feel more supported and comfortable. So I would encourage, that service there. But we also have Lifeline South Africa,
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
where they offer 24/7 crisis counseling and support via the phone. Um, and they genuinely do assist in as much as it is telephonic, and we don't yet trust, as a world country, we don't yet trust telephonic and virtual support. However, it is credible, it is free, it is functional as well.
Okay, okay.
um, yeah, there's also the National Crisis Line, where there's a toll-free number.
Wow, that's
There's
good.
Child Line South Africa, where there's a 24-hour toll-free helpline dedicated to assisting, the children and the youth as well. And of course, Summa Wellness. Let's
Okay.
not forget.
Yes, tell us
And
more
then,
about that.
so Summa Wellness is basically a full house, so comprehensive mental health and overall wellness platform,
Yes.
which obviously I direct. However, we basically are dedicated to providing accessible and affordable mental health support. And we are doing, a whole lot of amazing work, low cost as well,
Really?
on the contrary to what people may think, because what does one pay to a general practitioner nowadays, to a normal doctor?
It's a lot. It's a lot, I can say.
It's a lot. I mean, a general doctor, Thando, will charge you about what, 350 or 400 rands for a consultation, and that is before you actually get meds, right?
Oh, they
So
kill
we
us.
charge
Trust.
around about there, because I mean we tailor our services to meet whichever person who comes through for assistance, because I mean we believe, Uguti, we have to make the care accessible, despite us being a private company. But we also have programs where we work with the community. We've worked with Restore Foundation,
Wow.
based Wabonanda.
Wow.
um, we've worked with Four Corners based in Pinetown. We've worked with a lot of foundations, free of charge, because
Free
what
of
we aim to
charge?
do is provide, yes, we aim to provide OCs, or we aim to provide help and hopefully change the stigma around mental health. So in around about the same amount that you'd pay to a GP for a flu, you can actually get a session at
Mm.
Ufuma Wellness, of which, it's easy for us to keep looking at, only the physical,
Girl,
because at
sign
the
me
end of it
up.
all,
Wow.
yes, at the end of it all, whatever happens in the mind is bound to affect the body as well. So I do feel
Definitely.
that we do need to, put more, or shine more light in that regard. So Ufuma is also available.
That's good. Very good to know, S'khulile. Thank you very much. So, fam, if this is you, just breathe. Know that you are not weak and you're also not alone. Healing is messy, but also so worth it. So, stay locked in actually this season when you're trying to heal, actually. So, right now, we even have like Hluma Wellness, which is doing the most, telling you that if you go to a general practitioner, the same price can actually be applied to your session, which is something that we actually need. We believe that now we need to get our medical aids before we get healthy, before we kick back, because even these things, they even affect our relationships. Because now not only is the trauma now going to only affect us, but it affects even the people that are around us. So it's good to know that we have people and organization like Hluma Wellness that can be able to breach in that gap in order for us to be able to get that help. So now I just want to flip the script a little bit right over here, S'khulile. I want to talk now about the friends, the cousins and the partners that actually wants to support these people that are going through this period. Because what I know is that coming from a perspective of a person who has never been through the situation, I have not been through a situation, but I have a friend or I have a cousin, I have a sister that has going through the same thing, this whole thing of like being sexually assaulted. How can I be of assistance? Because sometimes we think that we are helping if we do certain things, but then sometimes our support, our level of support actually doesn't come in a way that can be interpreted very lovingly or very good to them in a way that they can actually understand. So what advice can you give to the people who have never experienced the sexual assault, but actually wants to be there for the people who have experienced that same thing?
I would say, first and foremost, we need to challenge harmful attitudes and behaviors. You know, if you see it, call it out. If I'm being honest, whether it's
Yeah.
happening to you or someone close to you, or even on the streets, if you see it, call it out. Because if you hear a sexist joke or a comment that objectifies women, and you let that go,
Hey.
you let that person, get off or get that element of excitement from inflicting that on someone else. And as I did say earlier, it starts as an idea, it starts as a joke, or it starts as just a random simple
It
thought,
does. It does.
and it formulates into an idea. And as it formulates into an idea, the person ponders on it a bit more, and only to find that they end up, actioning it, or they speak to a friend. And if the friend should encourage something like that, it grows and grows up until we have another, statistic, God forbid, you know. So let's challenge harmful attitudes and behaviors as we see them, because according
As
to
soon as we
Stats
see them.
SA, the prevalence of gender-based violence in South Africa is so high, in such a way that 1 in 3 girls,
Oh.
1 in 3 girls has been exposed to some element of sexual assault, or harassment, which is awfully higher. We are either the first or the second in the whole entire world
Yes.
when it comes to the normalization of gender-based violence. So I feel that it's high time that we challenge the narrative, we challenge the status quo. Ukuthi, if I'm seeing something wrong, let me do something about it,
Let me
because
do
me being
something.
quiet, akusizi muntu,
Hey.
at the end of it all.
Hey. Hey.
And
Hey.
more so, like, let's listen to and believe women. Let's stop asking questions such as, Uguti, if a child or a woman is coming forward and saying, this has happened to me. I've found that in society, the first thing that they'll ask is that, what did you do to get him to feel like that? What were you wearing?
Hey.
That might
Oh,
entice
yes.
you to
Yes.
do
Those
something like.
questions.
Yeah, bo. So basically, listen and believe women, men. And also women, I will not leave this aside. With the trending of hookup culture, Thando, we
Hey. Talk
we
about
have
that.
seen women as of late are also, not all obviously, but I do like challenging the status quo in a way,
Yes.
and not always making it seem as though it's all men, only men all the time. Women also, as of late, with what we've seen in society, also have this thing of getting their way using the rape word against men. Hookup culture is, a young lady will go out, look pretty, sit by the bar somewhere, and if she attracts a guy, she attracts a guy, and from there it goes elsewhere.
Hey.
And then, some say there are elements of there being a transaction, and should the transaction not take place, the lady will cry rape.
Okay, okay. Now I
You,
hear you. Now I hear. So
yes.
isn't like in the
So that
matter
is,
of when that happens now, it either it feels like if there's money involved, then that's transaction, we fine. If there's no money involved, then we call it rape.
yes. When essentially there would have been an element of agreement prior to
Mm.
the whole experience taking
Wow.
place. So that also, in a way, is also working against, this whole fight, this whole
Mm-hmm.
war that
Mm-hmm.
is currently prevalent of trying to protect women and children, trying to
Yeesh.
do away with gender-based violence and sexual assault and everything else. So,
Definitely.
furthermore, Nje, let's all just educate ourselves and others as well to just take the initiative to learn about consent. I've seen how, some cultures believe ukuthi, intombi iyashelwa, you ask out a woman,
Yes,
and
yes,
should she
yes.
say no, that means you need to try harder, or should she say no, you need to try a different angle,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So at the end of the day, when a person says no, that's it doesn't need any convincing. Let's be
Hey.
honest. If a person says no, no is
Yeah.
no. That's it. They're not interested, or they're not interested at
They're
that
not
particular moment in
interested.
time, or whatever the case is. A no is a no. Let's learn about consent and just
Mm-hmm.
healthy relationships, healthy working environments as well, um, so that a person who's aware is a person who's better able to make a change,
Definitely.
um,
I
as
hear you.
well.
So over
Yeah.
here, we know that our culture doesn't always make space for these type of conversation, and it's time for that to actually change. No more sweeping it under the rug anymore right now, and we're choosing healing. We're choosing to have these taboo type of questions and conversation, especially here in South Africa. So, what can parents or teachers, and maybe youth leaders, do better to actually educate the next generation about consent?
I'll say start early.
Mm-hmm.
We often have this notion, Yoguti, kids don't really understand certain topics or certain conversations.
Mm-hmm.
And that is where you're actually depriving a child of knowing the actual truth about certain things, certain sensitive things actually
Hey.
that may touch them, that may even happen in school, like the likes of umntwana lo ucwecwe, um,
Yes.
you know. So start early, start young. From about the age of 5 or 6, children are already aware when something makes them feel uncomfortable. Teach
Mm-hmm.
umntwana about bodily autonomy. Teach a child, ukuthi, no, 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 this area only my mom or the doctor can touch,
Mm-hmm.
nakhona with the permission of my mom. Define consent clearly as well. That a no must be a no.
Yes, yes, yes.
A child or a person doesn't have to justify themselves. Ukuthi, this is the reason why they say no, or whatnot.
I
That
hear
that's
you.
their right, and the more clear it is, the better.
Mm.
Also role play scenarios, as parents, role play hypothetical scenarios to help young people understand
Yeah,
how
role
to
play is
ask for
important.
and to give, consent. I'll give you a typical example of something that happened. So
Mm-hmm.
my eldest son, there was a phase where I think he was just curious about, the other gender,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to educate to go to, okay, baby, as much as you like someone, or you have a crush on someone, you cannot possibly just reach in for a kiss
Okay,
without
okay.
you telling that person, Uguti, okay, this is what I would like to do. Are you okay with it,
Are
or are
you
you not
okay?
okay with it?
Consent.
Instead of shaming the child to say, no, you shouldn't do something like that,
Mm.
because at the end of the day, nature calls when nature calls. We don't
Nature. Hey.
tell a person's body ukuthi, okay, this is when you start having such feelings and such
Mm-hmm.
emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Yabo. Yeah, but promotes empathy and respect as well. Foster a culture of empathy and respect for others and boundaries. Unfortunately, patriarchy has messed with that quite a lot,
It does. It does.
because it's told a certain gender that they can get their way, or that's just how it works, or ingani yomfana isoka if
Hey.
he starts with promiscuous activities at a certain age, when a girl is being shamed if she starts indulging in similar activities as well. But to emphasize consent, and that a person can change their mind at any point in time. Kuti, a no doesn't mean a no forever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
As well, and just take out shame from the whole concept, because at the end of the day, the reality of things is that nature calls when nature calls.
It
The
does.
least we can do for our children and the young ones is telling them, Ukuti, at a certain point in your life, this is what's going to happen to you, or these are the feelings that you're going to get, and what do you do, or how do you deal with such feelings, because a child is like a blank slate. If they're not educated, then they won't know.
True, true, true.
So
Thank you. Thank
yeah.
you. Thank you very much for that, S'khulile. We really do appreciate having you on the line today. So, people, that was S'khulile Ngobese coming from Shomu Wellness. And definitely, if you do want to check her out, you can check her out on all the socials that you need. S'khulile, before I let you go, do you have any socials that you would like people to actually know they can reach you from?
We do have a bit of a personal approach where we open our WhatsApp line
Mm-hmm.
from 8 until 4 p.m.
Okay.
We assisted quite a number of people to get in touch with the organization that we've mentioned earlier, about Lifeline, Childline, and whatnot. Should
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah. You
person
can
not
call out
be
the
able
number for them.
to get, yeah, so 078
Mm-hmm.
396 2727.
Okay, you said it's
078
078
396
mm-hmm.
2727.
396 2727.
That's correct. And then we are on Instagram. Unfortunately, not on Facebook as yet,
Mm-hmm.
but we are coming. Not on TikTok either as yet, but we are coming. That is Hluma, HLUMA underscore wellness.
Okay,
Ma-
Shuma underscore wellness.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Kulila, for being on the line with us. We do appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That was Thando Mthethwa on Fly FM with S'khulile on the line with us. Thank you very much, guys, for tuning in.
Ulalele Ifly FM, taking you places.